Bridal place. There we go.
This
Welcome
way.
to Our Generation with Melissa Shaw, where we educate, empower, and inspire. And we have another episode. This will be episode number 147.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
That
I've
is
been doing
amazing,
this for
actually.
2 years.
Way to
I
go.
know, thank you.
Wow.
So yes, I'm excited to have Leland here. You are with Indy Black Chamber.
I'm with the Indy Black Chamber. Yep.
Yes.
And I've been with them for, it feels like, I think it's 2 years. Sometimes it feels longer. It's almost like being married,
I know. You're
People
like,
are
wow, has it been? No, it hasn't been that
That's been a
long.
while. Like, oh, like how long you? Oh, I've been married for like 12 years. I'm like, oh, this is year 2. So, but no,
Yeah. So just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background. Are you from here?
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm actually from North Carolina.
Okay.
And I moved here.
Hence your pleasant personality. No, I'm just teasing. Right.
Yes, I don't know if you've been to
I mean, I
south
know. Yes,
of,
yes.
But for some reason, my fellow people in Indiana are very,
Yeah.
and I don't understand why.
I don't either.
I don't want your pocketbook.
Maybe it's the weather. Maybe it's the back and forth of the weather.
I like that. Yeah, it gives them some issues when it comes to personality.
Yeah.
But no, so I'm not from here. I originally came here, and I first came in 2013, but then I left again for work. I was working for this company as a sales rep, and then I came back in 2015. And so really from 2015 on, I've really been in Indianapolis. Indianapolis has good and bad.
Yeah.
But I'll be lying if I told you that I did not miss.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it could even be the Midwest, because I even think like Chicago and Ohio. Everyone over here has that kind of hardcore.
Yeah, what's up with
and
that?
It's like, why?
Is this Detroit?
I know. And it's crazy. I always felt like I don't fit in because I'm very friendly and I talk to a lot of people.
You are very friendly.
And I just I don't think I belong here.
It's like, what is going on?
I know,
and it's very weird because it's really weird. So Indianapolis has this. Indianapolis minority groups have this want for community.
Yeah.
But in execution and other things, may not play well in the sandbox with other organizations.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's this internal beef.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and I think sometimes because they haven't seen it done properly.
I'm with
or
you.
Or healthy.
Yeah. Or they don't think that it can happen. Period.
Yes, because it really hasn't been played. And if it is, it's done on such a smaller scale that people don't really see that. So I know one of the things that I've been trying to do is really connect with people and show the collaboration, really be outspoken about it. It's not going to go without any hiccups. That's just part of life, even with a relationship. So what are you going to do? You got to work through it. Or are you just going to be like, all right, forget it's not working? How worth it is it to you, especially when it comes to the community, that you're going to be willing to work through all those issues?
Absolutely. I'm with you 100%.
And I feel like the younger generation, though, kind of have more of, all right, we about to do this, so we're going to figure it out.
I do. I agree with that. And I would even say that even younger generation than me, they have more of an open-mindedness on what inclusivity looks like.
Yeah.
I think when I was younger, inclusivity was another way of saying race. But now inclusivity, what I've noticed with the young generation, is more about lifestyle, what you wear, what you don't wear.
Yeah.
Less about how you vote.
Yeah.
But more of just what someone believes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I admire that about the younger generation.
Yeah.
Because it's taken less of a focus on someone's pigment and more just about, hey, do I relate with you?
Yeah.
Period.
Absolutely.
Period.
Yeah.
And then, if not, then respectfully just saying, oh, okay, well.
Yeah, you're not my person, and I'm okay with that.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to beat someone over the head with someone else it's so weird. Yeah. It's like, okay, my perspective on life took a lifetime for me to get the perspective that I have.
Yeah.
So why would I think that I could convince someone in a 5-minute conversation,
right,
a 30-second commercial,
yeah,
that my perspective is better or more valuable? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like you're focusing on the wrong people. Forget them old people that are set in their ways. We need to focus on the younger generation that is coming up because they're the ones that are going to be able to change the landscape.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
These other ones, like, you know.
Now it's a weird thing because the older ones tend to
you could bring that in here. You did it last time. She always be acting shy. Don't worry about y'all. She's gonna be on the show soon.
It's interesting because the older generation has a benefit in being first. I'm gonna say in school I was an economics major, and we call that first movers advantage. That's all it is. So like we look at the older generation, and one of the things that comes up is like wealth. Like I think like during COVID, people talk about the wealth transfer, right? Like, oh, the older people, yada yada yada, right? And so you think of just wealth. And although they have a first mover advantage by being born first,
right?
That's awesome. The younger generation is more open. They're more open-minded. Yeah. They're willing to collaborate.
And you know, as you was talking, they really don't even care about wealth.
They don't.
They want to be happy. They want to be comfortable. They want to just live life.
Yeah. So to them, wealth is internal.
Yeah.
And then for other generations, it was more external.
Yeah.
Type thing.
Yeah. It's like I was meeting with a lady last week, and we was talking about generational wealth and, you know, building for our families. And one of the things that we talked about was, well, what if you have a child that doesn't align with what your business is? You know, we've been taught, oh, you create this business, pass the legacy on.
Nobody want that business.
But what if they don't? What happens?
But wait. Why should they want the business?
That part.
If they're seeing their parents working their tail off.
Right, that's not appeal to me.
I would sign me up. It's like,
I don't want no parts of that.
Oh, that's happiness? I don't think that's happiness for me.
Yeah, right.
And I can't blame someone for having their own version of happiness.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. Like, why? Like, first off, why even pass it over? I used to think the same of having a name and basically kind of passing your name on. And I thought about it and I said, wow, that's actually more of an ego for me. That's my ego. Like, my kid may not even want to do that. Actually, so weird is, when I was younger, I wanted to play basketball, but I just wasn't as tall as other people. So I just played football instead. But my son is like very, very tall. And selfishly, I want him to play basketball.
Yeah.
And guess what?
He don't want no parts of it.
He could care less.
Right.
He's like, Fortnite? I'm like, bro, Fortnite? Are you serious?
Right.
But I had to think to myself, like, well, why did I want to play basketball? I said, well, because it was an experience that I didn't feel like I fully got. Yeah. And so I'm trying to live that through him. I say that's not fair to him.
Yeah.
You know, if he wants to be glued to the game and that's happiness to him, you know, glue on, brother. Just
absolutely.
So same with the businesses. Let's say Eli Lilly. It's a large company here in Indianapolis. I haven't looked recently, but I don't think the CEO is namesake of Eli Lilly.
Yeah.
I don't think all of the executive staff is family per se.
Yeah.
So that should be an example that we can pass. You can allow management without having to fully relinquish ownership.
Yeah. Now, if it's something y'all all want to do, great. But if it's not, don't push the issue. Like with my nonprofit, I said I want to create this nonprofit for the younger generation to run.
Yeah.
And my daughter's 19, and she has not yet shown interest. She likes what I do, but she's not invested in it. I already have young people that are in their 20s, 24 that are invested in it.
They want to run with it.
And so it's like, why would I not bring them in?
Yep.
Because they already see my vision. They're already for it. Like one of my youngest members board members is 24.
Wow. That is young.
You know, because we look at that generational gap, and a lot of older ones look at younger ones as you don't have enough experience, you don't know anything. But these young people are smart.
They are.
And so to be able to provide a space for them where they feel seen and heard and literally can just be yourself in a structure that is safe, they're going to flourish. Because they don't feel like they're always, oh, I can't do that or I can't do this, because they're not going to. I tell them all the time, I don't care what you do as long as you don't kill nobody and do hard drugs, because weed is subjective. So I'm not even going to have that conversation. But, just to provide a space for them to literally be themselves. Like, I don't know how you was when you grew up, but I couldn't do that. A lot of us could not be in a space where we had to conform to what that tradition was, what that generation saw for us.
Yep.
And so to be able to provide that space for them, I feel like it's going to be more successful than trying to create a program and to make them conform to it. Why don't you bring them to the table to have the conversation?
Yep. 100%.
What do they see they need?
100%. And what you're saying is I see that in everything. Like commercial buildings, for example, we're talking about David Brattle, I think it was earlier. I mean, they went out of business, at least in this shopping center. And it's like, if I was getting married, why would I want to travel across town to try on a dress? Why can't you send me the dress, right? So I can fit it at home, and then So in my mind, I'm thinking like there's so many ways that we are trying to force people to do business a certain way, and it's just not working. Like we want people to come back to the office. And people are like, for what?
Absolutely. Why would I do that? 2 years. You got me messed up.
And it was fun. It was working.
We worked. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Why do you want me back in the office now?
Yeah, for control.
Because you have the lease. It's like, well, you have the lease because you were convinced that was necessary as part of doing business. COVID has taught you that that's not the case.
Not at all.
You want us to come into the office because you think that that's how you do business. And COVID has shown that's not the case.
Yeah.
So now we're conforming to what?
Right.
For image or?
Yeah. I don't know how. Do you read?
Yeah, I do read. Yeah.
Have you read the 4 Agreements?
Oh my gosh, where's my phone at? That's actually on my list. Yeah.
Got to read it because that talks about it's a small book, but I encourage everyone to read it because it talks about how when we was born into our family, that it was already predestined how we was going to move. Food we was going to like, music we was going to like. Just everything. But as you get older, you realize, like, I'm my own person. And none of that aligns with, and sometimes none of it aligns with who you are. But I feel like the younger generation, they already came out like that. Because my daughter is 19 and she is her own person. And I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah. No giving,
Not at all. Yes. Yep. So what's your word? I feel like we digress, but anyway, this is what the beautiful thing about my show is we can talk about whatever. So you're with the Indy Black Chamber. So how long have you been doing that?
I think 2 years.
Okay.
It feels like it at least.
So what is your role there?
So my role is really a marketing director, and I've been placed on different grants. So like when I first got there, I was working on a grant called Verizon Digital Ready.
Oh yeah.
And so what Verizon did is Verizon partnered with a few nonprofits throughout the area. And they wanted to attract a certain demographic. And our role at that point, our partnership with Verizon was to get, I think it was something like maybe 30.
Here's his cinnamon roll.
Thank you so much.
With a real fork.
With a real fork. Listen, I love cinnamon rolls. But the goal there was to get, I think maybe 30 people, 30 additional businesses to join Verizon. And they had given us a year, but I was placed on that project like in August. So I had from August or so to December to complete it. And we did like 153. And so then Verizon came back and was like, hey,
right,
that's really good. So you guys mind doing 150 for the following year? And so that's kind of where we are now with that grant cycle.
So what do you do to get to be a part of that?
So we have a partnership with a company called LISC.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So
Kelly Evans, I know Kelly.
I love Kelly.
Yeah.
Tell Kelly that you and I met today.
I will. I'm gonna send her an email. Absolutely. I met with her and she was like, "You need to send me over your information." She was like, "You're on my radar," and I was like, "Oh, thank you," because my ultimate goal is I want a young entrepreneurial residency program.
So definitely, have you spoken to her recently?
Not recent, but she sent me over something to sign up for a sponsorship.
Okay.
So
yeah. Stay in her ear. She's working on a project now where her and I met Friday.
Nice.
So we had lunch. So she's working on a project where just say, hey, Leland said that Leland said that my organization might be a good fit for a navigator program that you mentioned to him on Friday.
Okay. Yeah. I will do that. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Yeah. But that's how we got in. Was nice. Through LISC, Kelly advocating for us.
Yeah.
at the chamber. And one, I love Kelly. I think Kelly's amazing. But I also want to make sure that whenever she's advocating for me to do something, or for the organization that I'm working with to do something, that it's done to the absolute best possible. So like that 30, I was like, I want to blow it out the water, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And we'll blow it out the water with the 150.
And I love that Verizon Digital because it allows people to still be able to do it on their own time.
Yes.
And a lot of these cohorts are so restricted. Like you got to be there every week. And when you're running a business and maybe working and have a family, like what am I supposed to do?
It's tough.
Yeah.
You know what's really weird to me is so many of us critique higher education, right? We metaphorically piss on it. You know?
Yeah.
So horrible return on investment. When you think about it, everyone is giving their own supplement of that. Mm-hmm. Like the cohorts that take place, hey, it's a 16-week cohort. I'm like, wow, that sounds like a 16-week semester, right? You have to come twice a week. I'm like, wow, that sounds like my Tuesday and Thursday classes at college.
Yeah.
And so we're all saying that college doesn't work, yet we're capturing grant money to have these variations or micro, rocket ship type of training in a short, a thing. And it's so hard to teach business anyway. And to think that we can do it within, this is anybody, I'm saying anybody.
Yeah.
To think that someone can do it within 4 weeks, 10 weeks, a year is very tough. Because there's so many nuances that takes place.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
And that might actually be one of the things that businesses struggle with is organizations. All right. So a lot of nonprofits, Indy Black Chamber, Indy Chamber, list goes on and on, Martindale, Brightwood, etc. We task ourselves with better equipping entrepreneurs. Well, an entrepreneur has so many different facets of what makes them an entrepreneur. That really what we should just focus on to be like maybe 3 or 4 core competencies that they can generate revenue. And then everything else they're not good at, outsource.
That part.
But only when they have enough revenue to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. We're trying to get them to bookkeep. Like what?
If Martha has not learned how to bookkeep within the last 10 years,
she's not going to do it.
She's not going to do it just because I'm going to be sitting with her on Tuesday and Thursdays for the next 2 weeks. She's not going to get it.
No.
However, Martha, for the last 10 years, she's been in business. She's been able to float. We got to figure out, Martha, what the hell you been doing that's allowed you to make revenue last month that you're not doing this month? And whatever you did last month, let's duplicate that for this month.
Yeah.
I don't need Martha focusing on nothing else other than bringing new revenue.
Yeah.
And then we can outsource to a bookkeeper.
Absolutely.
That's the thing that it hurts my heart when I hear people say things like, I'm really trying to learn this marketing thing.
Why?
And I'm like, but you're not. Like it's just not. It's not. So it's like, no. What were you doing? What were you doing the last couple of weeks, or the last month, or the last year that allowed you to ring the register? Well, I was doing XYZ. Then do that, and then do that until you get enough money that you can hire somebody that can do marketing part time or something like that. But it's like, I mean, I'll teach you marketing, but it's not.
Well, you teach it, they're going to be good for about 3 to 4 months, and then you're not going to do it anymore because now you got to go back to what you're good at, because that's not what it is.
It's like, so as a parent, you say something to your child, I say something to my child, but the child hears like their own thing sometimes, and you're like, and so my son like, bro, I did not say that.
Right.
Where'd you get that from?
Like you create a whole scenario in your head, like what just happened?
What just happened? I'm like, bro, I did not say that to you.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happens with entrepreneurs. It's like you can give them a step by step, but they're their own person. So step 1 for them was interpreted as step 5.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, if Martha is to become a better marketer, she has to overcome this internal barrier that she has,
that mindset
that's making her want to jump to step 5 and not actually follow steps 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
But that by itself is a whole nother thing that's taking place. So really, it's like, well, is she really bad at marketing? No. What's she really bad at? Could be self-confidence. It could be just regular follow-through.
Yeah.
She may feel overwhelmed. She may have so many things. And some of the businesses I've talked to, they're good at what they do, but if they're behind on their bills, they are so frustrated with being behind that they can't focus about creativity.
Can't see nothing else.
A thing.
Nothing.
Nothing. Like they can't even see this far.
No, well, you think even when we're all in our own, when we even life stuff, when we have things go on, sometimes we can only see past that. We can't see past that.
Can't see past it.
It's going to be the same in business. You know, your mindset and your personal development and how you are as a person plays over into your business. So when we're helping ones, we need to help. Like you said, it's more internal. Like, do any of these cohorts teach?
No.
Like that is the core of a person.
That's the issue. Because what's happening, and the reason why that's the case is the grant providers, people that are funding us, they have certain things that they want to see of what they think business looks like.
Yeah.
And so we're like, well, hey, here's our curriculum to help Black businesses, right? These are the 12 things that we want to be able to address. And they're like, listen, we're going to fund it. It has to be these 9. It's like, okay, well then I guess it's going to have to be these 9.
Yeah, I'm seeing that.
But in a perfect world, even when the conversations, we know that the internal piece is really what's keeping people from really being successful.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we'll notice too when we're having our conversations, like staff meetings or whatever, or even talking to Liz and other people who are in the same sphere, they'll be like, "You saw Martha? Did you see Martha on Thursday?" Yeah, actually I saw Martha last Tuesday. Okay. A month goes by. How's Martha doing? Blah, blah. And so what you'll notice is Martha's coming to your nonprofit for a grant. She's coming to our nonprofit for coaching. She's going to Kelly's nonprofit for a facade grant. She's going to such and such nonprofit for a pitch competition, right? Martha has focused more on taking advantage of these nonprofit opportunities than actually growing her business.
Wow.
Which, seriously. And it's like, well, we're kind of the problem because we kind of put her in that position to where
that's an interesting perspective.
This is what she's so business for her wasn't wake up in the morning and let me get a sale.
Right.
That's what it needs to be.
Yeah.
It was wake up in the morning, let me find a grant.
Yeah.
And they're like, ma'am.
Wow.
No. And so in a conversation,
because it's been conditioned to, in order to be successful, you have to take advantage of these resources, and these resources tie you up.
Time.
Yeah.
Biggest time, the biggest resource. And so now Martha goes back home 4 p.m., 6 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m. She feels pumped up and excited of all the things that were filled in her head, which are great. But the information is perfect, but she's not able to implement anything because now she wakes up the next morning and Martha is more overwhelmed than the day before because she didn't get any sales. And now she has no sales. She can't pay the bill that's been slid under her door because she was at such and such's event until 9 p.m., which, by the way, great to be there. But if the implementation is not there, it makes it hard.
Yeah.
And it ends up hurting a lot of organizations.
Yeah. Have you read the book, The 4 Disciplines of Execution?
The 4 Disciplines? No.
Yeah. Because it talked about how we can create and all that, but when it comes to executing, that's the biggest downfall of most businesses, is that execution.
When I was working at Dow Chemical, they gave us all this book. They had this guy come in. His last name was Geist, actually. And he was a public speaker, an author, older guy. But his book was called Execute or Be Executed.
Wow. Okay.
it was a black and red book, and the title is Execute or Be Executed.
I can see that.
Yeah,
that is so
that's
true.
Legit.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, hey man, if you don't execute within the next 90 days, it's a wrap.
Right, because if you don't, it's done.
You
have nothing.
You have nothing.
Yeah.
So I feel for a lot of the small business owners who are having a hard time implementing. They're having a hard time executing. And what they really should be doing is just focusing on the bread and butter of what they're really good at.
Yeah.
and then outsource the rest that you can,
Yep.
where you can, like make it part-time or make it on a per job basis, something like that.
Yeah, and I know one of the things that I would like to implement, and I'm doing it on a small scale, is being able to pay for these small business owners to have that resource for maybe a few months. Just get them started, because sometimes they don't understand the value of it. And so when you don't understand the value, you're not going to put any money into that. But if I can give you that extra push and say, hey, you know what, I got you for the first 2 months because I need you to know. And when they see how life changing it is, they're going to find a way to make it work, to keep it.
I'm happy you brought that up. The TA hub, the technical assistance hub.
Yes.
That was, so Lisk wrote that grant, and that was Lisk's idea for it. So far, it's going well. There are a few business owners that, and like I do like some kind of quality checkups every now and again, and I'm noticing that there are some business owners that are happy that they received the service to where they didn't focus their time on something else. So like Martha gets the bookkeeping now. She's gonna get it for about 3 to 4 months, right? Because that's what that grant can afford for that CPA service. So she gets that for 3 to 4 months. But now Martha's not focusing her efforts on more sales. She's now looking at other things like marketing.
So in that process, you have to help, and that mentoring comes in those check-ins, and like, hey,
what are you up to?
Like,
hey, what are you doing?
This off your plate for a reason. So now you need to take that time, and now you got to focus on that, generating that revenue.
Yep, because that should be like the number one focus.
Yeah.
For all the
well, you think about it. There's no book on how to be an entrepreneur. Like this is all you just winging it, and every industry is different. Every person is different. Every person responds to things differently. So it's not a cookie cutter. It's not step A through Z. Like you can give them guidelines, but there's still a lot of, like you said, internal work that goes along with it.
It's some like
that misses that's the key. That's the missing piece.
I'm starting to think it's 80-20. 80% internal.
Absolutely.
20% execution.
Like I'm in an organization where personal development is heavy. And I've gone through things within my business and life that if I had not did personal development, it would have been a wrap. I would have walked away from everything.
I'm with you.
Just that mindset, and because we're so full of negativity, and even changing the way we was thinking as a child.
Yeah.
Rewiring that self-talk.
Yep.
Like, okay, no, you got this. Being able to have those conversations with yourself. We don't know how to do that. We haven't been taught how to do that.
Yeah, not a healthy conversation.
No.
And it's weird. It's like I want to use the Bible for example, but just as an example, it just reminds me of like that sower and the seed type thing, where there's the same seed that was being thrown across all these different versions of land or ground, but only one of them actually produced that was something long lasting. And so a person could say like, oh well, that ground got something better than the other one. They all got the same amount of seed. But the difference was that ground had already been tilted to where it had no weeds in it, and it was ready and it was primed to be able to grow. A lot of us have like this rocky, real beat up, trashy
mindset.
Soil.
Absolutely, we got some weeds.
We got weeds, cigarette butts. We got all kind of crazy stuff inside of it, and then we say to people or other organizations or opportunities, "Give me seed." It's like, bro, if I give you this seed, it'll probably kill you.
No, absolutely. And I'm glad you said that, because I had to say, we want things so bad, but are we the person that can handle that?
No. It's time to evolve.
It is. And most people don't want to go through that growth, because that growth takes time.
And you know what's funny though? It takes time, but not as long as we think it would.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just talk about myself. Let me see, when was this? In college? At college I was okay, but I remember switching majors so often because I was really trying to figure out what I wanted to do, who I wanted to be, that kind of stuff. And when I finally buckled down and I was really ready to commit, not necessarily to like a major, but to commit to like figuring out who I wanted to be, and also like who I am.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was like, man, all right, I'm gonna commit to this. This is by like junior year. I'm like, this is by junior year I mean my third year in college. I said, man, I'm gonna do this, but it's gonna take me forever to graduate college now, right? Because then I changed my major again.
So
my
you
third
gotta
year.
start.
I had to start over.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So I was like, well, you know what? I'm a legit like actually commit and to figure out one who I am, what I want to be, all that stuff. And it didn't take as long as I thought it would. Like it didn't take an additional 4 years. It did take an additional two, yeah, additional 2 or 3 years. Yeah, it took me 5 years to graduate. So it took me some additional time, but it wasn't as long as I thought it was. But nonetheless, by me doing that, it catapulted me light years ahead of my peers. So although people graduated before I did, I was blessed to have, I was able, one, to hear the Holy Spirit and be able to be placed in amazing opportunities, like amazing opportunities to where I had, that when it was time for me to graduate, before I graduated, I had multiple job offers.
Wow.
Now, if I would have pretended just to graduate and did whatever, been a chameleon basically, and pretended to like to do something that I really didn't like and things like that,
Yeah.
I would have graduated on time.
Yeah.
But I probably wouldn't have. I probably have been at home, asked my mom if I can move back in. That'd have been a tough conversation.
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm getting at is it won't take as long as we think it will if we're willing to commit to make the change.
Yeah.
So it's like that person that chooses to, I don't know, lose weight or something. It's like they think of it like me. I'm like, man, if I want to lose weight right now, it's gonna take me 2 years, but it really doesn't. It's not gonna take 2 years, right? It may feel like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it could be discipline of eating and exercising for a good 8 months. But choosing to do that on a regular basis makes all the difference.
Yeah.
And as most of us were like, I don't want the 8 months. I don't want the 6 months
They
of
won't
commitment.
put the work in, but you want the results.
But I want the result.
Yeah.
Okay. I want the 6-pack.
Yeah.
You don't want to start eating cinnamon rolls? No.
So,
I do not.
I don't know what to tell you.
Like, but are you sure? How bad do you want? I mean, I want it. If this is the ceiling, I want it just.
Yeah.
That's
you gotta want it bad enough to where you take everything off the table.
Yep.
Yeah. So, what are some programs that Indy Black Chamber offer?
Oh man,
that one can take advantage of.
So we talked about the Verizon Digital Ready. One of the benefits with us partnering with Verizon is that when people sign up through like different track links, it's supposed to enter them into the ability to receive grants.
Yeah, I know there's been a couple of people here in Indianapolis who've gotten them.
Yeah, and there are, and so they do that like every so often, like a couple times a quarter. But the other thing is that we have something called Wealth Builders. So Wealth Builders is a cohort. It's a 9-week cohort where it takes them through the different components of business. So they talk about marketing, talk about sales, talk about branding, insurance, law or legal, etc. And so Cummins is one of the sponsors for that. In addition to that, we have the TA Hub, which stands for Technical Assistance, and that's where anyone, and I mean anyone, who can have a mailing address in Marion County. That's the requirement for the grant writers. Mailing address in Marion County where they will have an account. We don't give them money, but they have an account or credit of $2,400 to go towards services. So they can choose with services. We've had a few restrictions from time to time when it comes to like how many services a person can use, but they can basically spend the money or utilize that credit as much as they want.
Nice.
So you have like marketing, accounting. There is mindset coaching, and you'll be surprised that that's the least amount. That's the least service. You ask them what they need, and they'll tell you, "I don't need mindset." I'm like, okay, well, what do you think you need? I need marketing. I need sales. It's like, okay, you need mindset,
right?
Because I've seen some people, ask for sales, and they'll get leads. That's the whole point of marketing is to get you leads. They won't call the leads. They won't call them back. They won't email the leads back. I will introduce people via email to others, and they won't even follow up with the person that they're introduced to. because they're afraid. I don't, but they won't even follow up with that person.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I remember one time so there's a lady, she I think it was a notary company, or maybe it's a drug testing company that she had. I think it was drug testing. Very, very, peculiar type of business. And she was like, I really need to, make some money with this. And I said, well, what have you tried? And then, who do you really want to help? So long story short, I sent her I said, hey, make a list of organizations that you think can really utilize your service. And one of them was like the correctional facility. I said, let's call them. Like, are you sure? Like, yeah, like, just call them. So I called and I said, hey, I pretended. I said, hey, I work for such and such company, and my manager wanted me to give you a call. We're looking to see how we can be a vendor with Marion County Correctional Facility in reference to drug tests in case you guys have people, blah, blah, blah. You know what the lady said on the other end? Absolutely. Here's my email address. Just send me your information, and we'll be happy to go ahead and to have you talk to somebody about becoming one of our vendors when it's time for drug tests through the legal system, whatever. So, okay, that's great. You think the lady that I did that for sent the email? She never sent the email.
Wow.
And she was actually on the phone with me, so she was able to hear me. And I recorded the phone call. Mm-hmm. She got the recording of the phone call, and she never did it. Isn't that interesting?
It is.
So it's like, is it really marketing that people need? Probably not.
No.
It's going to be something more internal.
Confidence, that mindset, feeling worthy.
Worthy.
And not being afraid to excel.
Yep.
Because sometimes we have this misconception of what I've struggled with that. When I'm up here, what is that going to, require of me?
Do I want that?
Am I the person that needs to be to take on that responsibility? And if you've never seen an example of it, then you don't even know what it looks like. So Absolutely. It's like the fear of the unknown. And we have fears of things that will never, ever happen.
Never happen.
Ever. Like when I personally experienced that when I was in a car accident 2 years ago, lost vision in my left eye, and like they had to replace my lens.
Get out of here.
And so I was just in such a bad space. And my brother was there, and I remember being in the emergency room, and they're looking me over, and I go into a full blown panic. Like,
yeah,
and I literally said, oh my God, like, I'm going to be blind and have to be on disability.
No.
My brother looked at me like, if you don't shut up.
Take that back now.
Why did your mind immediately go there? And so our mind, like, just literally, I always say our mind is a beautiful place, but it can be very dark.
Okay. It can be a dark, twisted fantasy.
It is. And so for me to immediately go negative like that, I was like, okay, there's some
roots,
some underlying things that made me feel like that was the end. Like it was really eye opening, and I did a lot of soul searching. Hence why now I have a podcast. So that led up to me having a podcast and kind of how things evolved to where I'm at today. And so it took me in a whole different path.
Like, all right, here's an example. Tell me about, you saw the movie, it's a Will Smith and his son, Pursuit of Happiness?
Yes.
Okay. Why is it that in all of the movies, even movies that are about being triumphant, why is it that the struggle is highlighted so much in all the movies? And then when that main character finally gets to the triumphant part, the movie ends.
You're right.
It gives the subconscious the idea that in order to have the triumphant, there has to be this long struggle.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be.
Hell to the no.
Yeah.
I rebuke that in the name of Jesus. Like, not for me.
Yeah.
Hell no. Mm-hmm. But subconsciously, that's what we feed our subconscious.
Yeah. You're right.
Like in all these movies, it's like, yo, can I?
The whole movie is about me struggling.
The last 2 minutes of the movie, you got homeboy talking about something.
I know,
right? Parking ticket, all that stuff, and then you finally see this man. He get a promotion. you're like, wait, what else happened?
Like, let's see how he deals with that. Let's see him be great.
Be great.
Because what does it look like to be great when you come from that?
Because all they show you was what it looks like not to be great. It just showed you what it looks like for you to want to go after something and to have someone turn their back on you or betray you.
Yeah.
To show you what it's like to feel like you have to fight your family and lift your kids up at the same time. Yeah. Which is great. Those are great characteristics.
No, absolutely. But
let me tell you something. God, you ain't got to put me through hell to let me know the message.
Yeah.
Just talk to me, homie. Right. Listen, I need you to say, Leland, at the stop sign, make a left.
Right.
I don't need me to make a right hand turn to go through hell to come back to the same stop sign and then I don't need that. Yeah. I need you to say, son, make a left. Mm-hmm. We good.
Yeah.
I don't need But in all the movies, that's what you see.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's what
we're fed.
And that's constantly. Exactly. So if that's in Martha, I'm talking about Martha. By the way, there is no Martha in the Black Chamber.
Who is Martha?
I have an aunt named Martha.
Aunt Martha.
Mm-hmm. She's a great aunt though. She's a twin too. Martha and Margaret.
Okay.
Twins. But if Martha, metaphorically, if Martha's fed this in her subconscious, in all these movies that she watches, they're supposed to be inspirational. Well, when it's time for her to really hit the pavement, she is going to duplicate what she's seen in some fashion.
Yeah.
That's just how it works.
Yeah.
And so then it's like, well, Martha, what happened? I went for this new business, and my friend betrayed me. It's like, oh, okay. By the way, you ever heard of Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey? Mm-mm. Oh my gosh, it's great.
Is that a book or?
Yeah, he made it into a book. So
let me put it in my notes. What is it called again?
It's called The Hero's Journey.
It's a movie?
It's a book.
Okay.
But it's not new. So Joseph Campbell, he coined it for himself. But it was a
What's his first name?
Joseph
Campbell.
Yeah. But it was a I forgot what they called it in Kemet or Egypt. They called it something to where it was meant to be the story of every person's life as they choose to evolve. So when you look at this, it has a diagram. It's a circle, but the circle is meant to be more of a spiral up. So every time that you're going to another level and that you're evolving to the next better version of yourself, you're going to go through some version of the hero's journey, no matter what. But just because you go through the hero's journey doesn't mean that certain phases have to be as long as people make it seem. So at the sixth hour, at the bottom of the circle is always this abyss or loss, or they may call it the belly of the beast type of thing, where the hero feels that they maybe lost everything, or that they feel like, oh, I'm back to where I started, that kind of stuff. And at that bottom piece is where whatever characteristics were actually necessary for the hero to go to the next level, that's where the hero actually gathers those pieces off a self-reflection type of thing. Now, that self-reflection doesn't mean that someone has to go bankrupt. Right. That's not what I said. That's not what that means. But it could be something as simple as someone has a rough day and they really think and say, wow, maybe I'm doing this wrong. Maybe they try to do something more efficient. But it's really good. So it's a diagram. The diagram has tons of little tidbits about this hero's journey, and it's fantastic.
I'm going to look that up. Yeah. So even when you talk about how we don't see people winning, we see them struggle.
Yes.
So with my podcast, I bring all of my people back 6 months to a year.
Okay.
So that they can see their growth, and so that others can.
I like that.
It's weird how you just said that, and so it's how you already create something and you don't connect the dots on why it's important. And so one particular person that I interviewed, her story was dope. She rebranded 5 times.
Wow.
She has a Boomy hair care company, and she talked about that process. When I interviewed her a year later, She now has her product in Walmart's website.
I have seen it.
So to know her be able to talk about the struggle, but now they can see, and I'm going to be interviewing her again so that people can, now she's about to have a space where she's going to manufacture, like really seeing those stories of people that started in her house, become a scientist and create her own stuff. Like, it's literally the consistency and the resilience that we all learn from being an entrepreneur. So one of the things I also ask people is, what have you learned about yourself during this process? Because being an entrepreneur puts you in so many different situations.
Yeah.
That you learn either habits or skills or bad habits that maybe never surfaced. Or you might, most people say, I didn't realize I was as strong as I was. And so knowing that and being able to identify that can help you when you're in those moments of, I don't want to do this no more. Because how many times do we have that? Hell, I had that last week.
I think it was this morning.
We go through that because it's just life, and we get so caught up in, I have to be perfect or I have to be this. No, you do not.
You don't.
You just got to stay consistent, stay the course. And that's the hardest thing to do. Like, I remember I called my friend, I said, just tell me not to stop. And you need to have your circle of people too. Those people that are going to rally around you, but we also have to learn to speak up and ask, which we feel like everybody is freaking mind readers.
Isn't that weird?
Why? It just, I wasn't taught to use, I think, and I don't know how old you are, but I'm 46, so my generation wasn't taught to use our voice. We was told what to do, you act this way, and so you don't know what to ask for. You don't know how to ask.
Yep.
I had a friend, she was going through a terrible time, and I was like, what do you need? She was like, you know what, I just need me some pizza. I said, done. I sent her pizza to her house. It's just those small things.
Let me call you for some pizza, okay?
But she could have said, I don't know what I want.
Right.
But because she was able to verbalize it, I was able to feel that need.
And I'm starting to think that most of us, we don't know because we really don't know.
You're right.
Like, we don't know ourselves to even be able to say what's best for me.
Yeah. And that's really that learning yourself. And entrepreneurship helps you do that.
It does. So today I was helping this guy with his ideal target market. And so he gave me characteristics, and I said, okay. First I said, how do your customers describe you? So he went through these things: trustworthy, responsive, reliable, all that stuff. I said, okay. Okay.
Let's ask your customer.
Right. Because you telling me this.
You're right.
So I said, okay, cool. And I went on with it. I said, great. Tell me, how would you describe your ideal customer? This man described himself. He said, I never thought about it this way, but it seems like in some of these instances, it's like I'm describing myself. I said, yeah, because you attract what you are. And I said, I'll be honest with you, there are a lot of people that I talk to, if I tell them that they attract what they are, they get upset. Martha, for example, God bless Martha, whoever she is.
I know.
But Martha's going to say to me, I keep getting the worst clients. And in my mind, I'm thinking, girl, are you the worst client? Like, if you were my client, would I consider you to be the best or the worst?
Right, no.
Like, you
even in any relationship, you attract who you are.
Yes. They were like, this such person is just get on my nerves. Well, whose nerves did you get on?
Yeah.
So anyway, he said, wow, I didn't realize that. And I said, yeah. So me asking you to describe your ideal customer, it shouldn't have taken us an hour, sir. Because if you're telling me that you attract yourself, then what you're really telling me is you don't know yourself.
Yeah.
We shouldn't take this.
That's a process too, and some people don't know. Like, when I first started this, I didn't know who my ideal customer was. I was just literally I threw something against the wall to see if it's going to stick. And it stuck for 2 years.
It's still sticking.
It's still stuck. And as it went, like, my client turned into young entrepreneurs. And now they want me in their space. They're calling me for things. And I'm just like, okay, I can do this.
Yes, you can.
2 years ago, when I came up with my nonprofit project, Our Generation, bridging those generational gaps, now it's starting to play out.
It's literally in the name, right?
Literally. But sometimes when we do stuff, we don't really think. And it's going to evolve. And sometimes you just got to kind of let it flow the way it's supposed to.
Let it flow.
Yeah.
Our only job is to move forward. Like, plan a destination. I get that.
Yeah.
But the road that it takes to get you to that destination has nothing to do with you. Mm-hmm. All you need to do is to walk.
Yeah.
That's it. It's gonna. You thought you were gonna stop at the beach and spend a couple of days and relax, and then come to find out that you are in the woods. But you're still gonna get to that final destination. Mm-hmm. Period. I told someone this last week, and I was like, she was talking about her business, and I said, have you ever thought about have you ever thought about the way, like, if Moses was running in the wilderness from Pharaoh with those Hebrews, so you ever thought about them panicking? And she's like, yeah. I said, I can see it, blah, blah. I said, here's what I'm getting at. Moses was complaining to God. He was like, bro, they coming, they upset. We done stole their gold, borrowed it, right? Come on now. You can read that and be like, how you borrow?
Right.
How you borrow and never give back? How that work? But anyway, so he's like, okay, they're coming after us. What are we gonna do? And God's like, bro, you are tripping. He's like, well, what's that in your hand? He's like, in my hand? He's like, yeah, man. He's like, what's that in your hand? He's like, this staff? He's like, yeah, use what I already gave you. What I gave you, that staff, in the very beginning, it morphed into a snake, it put blood in this river, and this and that. And you telling me that you don't want to use the same thing that I already gave you to complete the journey? That's it. She had similar to what you said, which was your initial vision had bridging the gap of generations, right? And you're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to keep using that staff that I was already given because, wow, that's actually all I really needed, right? And so this lady's business was something to where she was helping young architects, and she was like, initially I was going to focus on let's say schools. Initially I was going to focus on schools, but I think I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And I was like, well, if the staff that was given to you was focusing on schools, and you're telling me that that's where you get your revenue from,
right?
Go ahead and pick the staff back up, mm-hmm. and just use what you're already given. Mm-hmm. Don't try to make it more difficult.
Yeah.
If 1 + 1 = 2, quadratic equations are not necessary.
Not necessary.
If your destination is 4, or if your destination is 2, mm-hmm. make it as simple as possible. Yeah. Like now, you making your purpose difficult. Mm-hmm. Nobody else.
Yeah. And this podcast has really created the whole, like, it became the nucleus of what I do, and I didn't even realize it.
That's beautiful.
Like, it's from the stories of hearing people. It's from me listening to the stories and hearing, okay, I need to connect them to this person. I need to connect them to this resource. So it's beyond me hearing your story. I'm going to also provide resources and things after the fact. Like a particular gentleman, he's 24, has his own clothing line. Met him at a vendor event. There was something about him that we connected. We reconnected, had him on my show. From that, I had him go to Katina Washington's Men in Black Gala last year. He almost didn't go because he said he didn't have nothing to wear. I said, oh, we're not doing that. I don't care. So I put out the fillers, took care of that. And he was just so overwhelmed with, like, I've never been in a space like this.
Wow.
Because in his mind, he comes from the streets. He was shot. His twin brother was killed. He just had a lot of tragedy happen. But his spirit was so just, I don't want to use the word precious, but that's the only word I could think of. Like, he just had something really special about him.
Yeah.
And he wanted to change. He could have took all that anger and animosity and, just really went negative with it. But he chose not to. He chose to create this clothing line called Trench Hearted. You come from the trenches. So from that, he was able to come in, experience a space that he had never ever experienced before. And he said, "I never would. I see this, but I never thought I would be able to participate in it." He was able to get meet a gentleman there that has a clothing store, and now his clothes are in 2 stores.
Wow.
And it's just that, but it all from your, and it all goes back to our story.
Yes.
And most people, when they try to brand or market, they do all this other stuff. It's about
blanding. They make their brand bland.
But it's about you. You are the one that people like. When they hear your story, they're gonna be like, "Oh snap! I really rock with you because of what you're about."
And I tell people, like, in reference to marketing's sole purpose is to segment. It's not to attract everybody. Like the guy spoke to today.
Well, when you was at the Pitch Fest at Martindale, you was perfect what you said.
It's not about
everyone is not our client.
It is not.
And if everyone, and I think I made a post about that night. Like when you try to get everybody to be your client, you have no clients.
You get nobody.
You get nobody.
And people, in deep down, you get nobody because people know that that's not authentic.
But it also comes from the scarcity mindset. People feel like if I don't I gotta get everything.
I gotta get as much as I can.
No, I literally believe, and I don't like cliches. I don't like, people say things happen for a reason. If you'll attract who you are, but it really is true.
Yeah.
Like when you really are in your purpose and you exude that in every area of your life, people are going to attract to you. You both could sell the exact same thing. Yep. Be in the room. There are going to be people that are going to come to you, and they're going to come to you because of your energy, your story, who you are.
Who you are.
For everybody.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to, because that's exhausting.
That's exhausting. I think what I've noticed is that people think that they have to have everyone to make impact. And by impact, what they're talking about is monetary gain, right? But the truth is, it's a really good book. It's called 1,000 True Fans. Really good book. And all it means is that when they're basing, whether political campaigns, when they're basing tours for whoever, Beyonce, Taylor Swift, whatever, they're basing it off of 1,000 true fans. Mm-hmm. The word fan, of course, means fanatic. A fanatic is someone that, let's say Lakers, right? I can say I'm a Lakers fan, but by the definition of fan, as a fanatic, I am not, right? I have a preference to the Lakers, really, right? A fanatic is a Lakers fan. A true Lakers fanatic is someone who, if their rent was due tomorrow and the Lakers had courtside tickets available, and it happened to be the same amount as their rent, a fanatic is buying the tickets. That's a fanatic. Mm-hmm. A fanatic is going to look at the schedule when it comes out, and they're going to purchase all the home games. That's a fanatic, right? Majority of all markets are not fanatics. And then in that book, he does a really good job. And he says, like, majority of market are not fanatics. He was like, that's great. All you need is 1,000 fanatics. All you need is 1,000 people, or even 100 people. You start small. You need 100 people who would vouch for you, go to bat for you, say this person's amazing. That would metaphorically eat your dirty drawers, metaphorically, right?
Right.
Because if you get 100 or 1,000 of those people, the other 99% of the market who are in the middle, they're going to say to themselves, who are in the middle though, right? Not on the total opposite end, but who are in the middle. They're going to say, well, dang, they like her so much. Let me see what's the big deal about, right? Mm-hmm. Like for Beyonce. A fanatic will probably be the beehive, right? Mm-hmm. That's the fanatics. But then everyone else who's in the middle, who has a preference for Beyonce, right? They're like, what the hell is so important about? Yeah. Well, I'm gonna buy a ticket.
Yeah.
Right? But the fanatics probably purchased the first 2 rows. Mm-hmm. And by them paying so much of a higher rate because of the true fanatics, they bought the entire thing. In other words, what marketers do is they'll offset their pricing based on the Fanatics price. So like if the Lakers sell all of the floor seats and the seats behind it, that actually paid for all the operating costs for the game to be open that day. You see what I'm saying? Everyone else is in the 98% who are not true fans. We just have preferences. We're the cream of crop as far as we're just getting money on top, the profit essentially. But the Fanatic has already purchased. They got LeBron, Kobe's jersey. They paid top auction price, that kind of thing. Yeah. So long story short, in that book, he's like, just get your 1,000 true fans. Yeah. And when it comes to monetary impact, you'll have it. Because you'll have those 1,000 true fans. Mm-hmm. And just because if you get, let's say someone has a music video, it doesn't mean 1,000 people watch it. It means that maybe one out of those 1,000 actually watched it twice. Mm-hmm. That's a fanatic. But it can't be like, oh, well, I got 1,000 views on something. Great. But maybe only one or two of the people actually saved it or shared it. Those are the ones that you want. Mm-hmm. And long story short, whoever's listening, you don't have to have a huge following. No. Period. And if it's the impact of money that someone's looking for, you can still have 100 true fans. Mm-hmm. You think about it, 100. If you get 100 people to pay you $100, hey, you're good.
I'm good. Right.
So it's not about that then.
Yeah.
It's about having the true fanatics. But our money, I believe money is spiritual. That's my belief. Or is an expression of spirit, because you only put your money towards things in which you believe in. That's it.
Yeah.
That's about it. I mean,
I agree with that.
You believe in something so much that you're willing to put something behind it. Mm-hmm. That's it. Yeah. I like cinnamon rolls so much that I'm gonna get me one.
Yeah.
All right. I believe in the feeling.
Even when it comes to clients or customers, like, I believe in you so much that I'm gonna invest this in you.
Yep. I'm gonna pay the retainer.
Yep. Like, I don't know if we had the conversation, so I work with Legal Shield. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that I want to do is I want to help ones get that protection. And so I believe in you enough to where, like, all right, I'm going to sponsor you to do that. But it all comes back around, because the more and I realize the more I give out, the more that it comes that I can redo. It's just it's the ecosystem. It's supposed to go that way.
Plant, harvest. Seed, time, harvest. Yeah. Seed, time, harvest.
Yeah.
Sometimes we be like, seed,
harvest, right.
You're like, bro, chill out. Like, can you let it grow roots? Like, right. No. I need this right now. It's like, well, if you needed it right now,
you should have been doing.
You should have been. Yeah. We do that.
Yeah.
And then we get upset.
Yeah.
With everyone else.
Yeah. I don't get support or all this and that. Like, let's really talk about that.
You did not. One, you want support, but John, let's say we're gonna leave Martha alone. John, you want us to support your new business. This is your 5th business, by the way. This might be a little too much, too sensitive.
No, I'm about to. Oh, we are an hour. You're my longest one ever.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
John, you want us to support your business, which is cool, bro. I'm gonna support it. But remember the 3rd business that you started? You didn't even give people a quarterly update on what the hell you was doing. See, I didn't know you was on business number 5, because I thought you was on business number 3. Mm-hmm. You ain't send me no newsletter.
Yeah.
You ain't send me no text message. I ain't get no picture. Mm-hmm. So now you ask me to support business number 5, and I'm like, but when you get on 5, bro? I thought we were still on 3.
Yeah.
And John, is that really my fault? Mm-hmm. Or is that John? Or is that your fault, sir?
Right.
It is John's fault. Yeah. Instead of John just saying, listen. Matter of fact, there's this great parable. It's in the New Testament, but it's called the parable of the unjust steward. It's the parable about this guy who steals, and at the end of it, Jesus goes like, Basically, Jesus is like, this is a good guy. Like this guy did the right thing. And his disciples were like, what? And he was like, this guy did the right thing. Basically, the guy worked as a manager for somebody. He was caught stealing, and his manager said, hey, bro, this is like your last. The owner says, hey, dude, you've been stealing for a while. I've just found out. End of the day, you're done, right? So the guy goes out to 3 different accounts, and he tells the people that owe his company stuff. He says, listen, how much do you owe, ABC company? You're like, oh, I owe X amount. He's like, oh, well, we'll make that half. Goes to the next person, the same thing, right? And Jesus says, this man did a good job because he says, use mammon or use money as a tool to make friends so that in the event that you do need something, you can ask. John never took enough detail into making me a true friend by keeping me updated on what was happening. So that when you talk about give and take, right? Planting and reaping, right? John never planted enough seeds.
Yeah.
John came to a soil or a garden that he ain't plant nothing. He asking me for money.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, I can't help you ain't plant nothing. Mm-hmm. If you would have been in communication with me, I don't know, once a month, once a year.
Yeah.
Now you ask me for something it's Gucci. It's cool.
Yeah. It's about building those relationships.
Exactly.
Relationships and networking are, to me, the 2 main components of a business that nobody focuses on.
Nobody focuses on it. And you know what? You know what people do instead? They come into a networking event and they will try to shake as many hands as possible.
But what do you do after that? I mean, I'm guilty of it. You don't follow up. You don't reach out. You collect all these damn business cards for what? What are you trying to do? Wallpaper your wall with them?
Put in the fireplace?
Like what?
Stay warm in Indianapolis snow blizzards?
Oh my God, yeah.
They won't follow through?
And they may not even know how. So again, that's like, do you even know how to network?
And that's what should be taught. So like one, if this let's say we're here and we're having this networking event, there's no reason. One, you shouldn't be going to everybody to network because you're not building enough valuable relationships to remember who the hell you're talking to.
Oh my God!
So then when I follow up, I'm gonna say, hey, this is my contact.
Well, who the hell
are you? Or if I say, hey, this is Leland. It was great chatting with you. I hope you and your daughter have a great time at Myrtle Beach next month. That's more specific. Mm-hmm. In the event that you ever want to connect, here's my calendar or here's my phone number. Look forward to chatting. Boom, that's all you gotta do.
Yeah.
And then months later, a week later, whatever, you go to an event, you take a picture of yourself at the event, or maybe you're talking on stage. You say, hey, John, I thought about you last week. I had an event at Martin Brightwood. It was a great event. You should join next time. Here's a picture. Let me know your thoughts or your feedback in the future. That's it. Mm-hmm. And so then if someone did, when I was really, really heavy in real estate, one of the things I would do is like raise capital, raise money. I would raise debt or equity. Debt was easiest to raise because you were basically being liable for a loan. Equity was a little bit harder. And it was amazing how many people would want to raise money for different projects, ideas they have, and they have trash relationships. John wants to raise $2 million, but John hasn't spoken to anyone that he knows in the last 10 years. John wants to raise $5 million, but the last time he spoke to his rich uncle, he told him to screw off.
Yeah.
So you want me to create this amazing pro forma of why your deal is hot stuff, and you don't have any true relationships for people to even want to commit behind what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. They haven't seen you. They haven't seen you. They haven't heard from you. They don't even know what you stand for anymore because they haven't heard from you in such a long time. Why would they want to go ahead and put money behind you? Or better yet, why would they want to put faith behind you? Yeah. Where you been? So if you wouldn't do it, why do you think we're gonna do it?
Right.
We don't do a good enough job with networking. We don't do a good enough job with follow up.
No.
And the follow-up doesn't have to be salesy.
No.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
And just how if we can make highlight reels on Instagram or TikTok.
Well, that's what everyone's used to. So remember when Facebook was acting up and they wasn't allowing you to share people's business stuff?
Yes.
Some of y'all businesses would die. If that happened, literally, because you are so fixated on social media. It is a tool.
It's a tool.
But that it will never, ever, ever take away from that personal relationship.
It's not even that good of a tool, really.
You said it's not good of a tool?
Not really. I mean, it's invasive.
You can't control that.
Exactly.
You can control this. You can control having coffee. You can control going to actually having conversation. And okay, we have Zoom now. You know how many times I'll set up a Zoom coffee to connect? Like
I've done it.
Like literally.
On screen. Hey.
Yes, literally. Or have a virtual lunch. Like bring your lunch. Like literally, we could do that.
Yep.
But that kind of in person, but still that face-to-face connection.
It's needed.
Is what's viable for businesses, and it's getting lost.
Facebook, Instagram, same company. TikTok, you make a post, they only show your post. So I think it's like either 5 or 10% of your actual followers. That's it. If those 10% of your followers who saw that post, if they didn't interact with it in some way, they don't share it to the rest of your followers. They don't also share it to any organic people either. If it doesn't captivate that random 10% that's on when you posted that thing, they don't push it further down the algorithm. They don't.
Wow.
So now we have John making a post, and he's thinking to himself, "Well, I'm doing marketing." It's like, okay, well, John, how many impressions did on that post anyway?
Right.
And why did you think that by you posting on Instagram that would mean that by osmosis money would be put in your pocket?
No. It's those relations. Like I connect, but I'm in your inbox setting up a coffee meeting. Like that's what I utilize Facebook for.
Yep. And it's like, oh my gosh.
My ideal client is not on Facebook. They're business owners that are out doing their business. So I need to get on their level and like, okay, we need to connect.
Let's connect. Yep.
Yeah.
Someone asked me, it was last night. Last night I was talking to this guy. He's a business owner. He's kind of a newer business owner. And he said, well, how did you get on the board for the Greater Indianapolis YMCA? I sent an email. He said, what? I said, yeah. He said, no, you didn't. I said, yeah, I did. So I showed him the email. And he said, well, why would they put you on their board just because you sent an email? I said, because nobody else is willing to send the email.
Right, and why would they not?
I said, nobody else was willing to send the email. Because everybody else is thinking just like you, which was afraid to send a freaking email.
Yeah.
I wasn't. Yeah. I sent it. That's it.
Like I'm at P30 a lot.
Yeah, I like P30.
Everyone is like, do you have an office? I do not.
I don't need one.
I'm out in the middle with the people. That's how I meet people and talk to people. That is the networking. Like, no, they're going to see my face every time they walk through that door.
I don't need a...
Yeah, I don't want an office. I don't want none of that. Just put me around people.
I need the... And that's what commerce is supposed to represent. But we think it just means transaction. This is a transaction. We think it means like actual merchandise of... Yeah. No, it's not. It's not this about.
Not at all.
But the simple things are like following up or reaching out, and then even when you do reach out, just send another message.
Yeah.
It's okay. No worries. There's a few people that I have on my list that I want to consistently like poke them.
Yep. They call that your hot list.
That's my hot list.
Yeah.
I got three particular guys on there that are in the Indianapolis market that I look up to as far as like those like in business. I poke again. They didn't respond the 7th time. I poke again. They didn't respond the 8th time. One of those guys, ironically, I ran into at Tease Me at a tea shop. I'm getting your messages. I'm like, okay. As long as you know, because
But you knew because you saw my face.
Exactly. So imagine if and again, like, imagine if I didn't, just as an example, if I didn't poke him, if he would have recognized, he probably wouldn't have recognized me when he would have saw me, and that would probably have been it. We undervalue the networking piece so much, and it's okay to. I'm not saying like be desperate. Nobody likes anybody who's desperate.
Right.
But if you're at an event, just let people know what you've been up to. Because just because you think that you put something on social media, that does not mean that everyone who thinks of you goes to social media to see what you're up to.
Right.
That's not what everybody does.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are on social media as a way to veg out or to escape a busy day.
Scrolling.
Woo, that was funny.
Right. Absolutely. Like I'm like, please do not send me anything because if I go to TikTok,
it's a wrap.
I'll be on there for hours.
It's a wrap.
It's like, why?
And it's so good, right?
It is.
You're like, oh, and then you think to yourself like, wow, this is really good. They spent like 2 hours making this.
Yeah.
It'll be 60 seconds. But they spent like, wow,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, they spent 2 hours making this.
Yeah. So if ones want to we'll wrap this up, y'all.
Yeah. Sorry.
With one, how can one get into the Indy Chamber? Like, what is the?
We make it really easy. Like, if someone wanted to join the chamber, they go to indybcc.com. That's what they want to join. If someone wants to learn more about the TA Hub or even apply for the TA Hub, because anyone can apply, you have to be mailing address in Marion County, $6,000 of gross revenue within 12 months. And that's pretty, and be incorporated for at least 2 years, the business. But you just go to indybcc.org and click on resources. It'll be a large drop down of all the resources.
Okay. Well, y'all heard it here. Y'all got a lot of information.
Maybe too much, but
it's okay though. So this is what it is. People need to hear those type of conversations that you don't normally hear. If something's going to be said that's going to be like, oh, I needed that.
I hope so.
Yeah. So where can they find you at?
You can find me on Instagram at Leland Baptist. You can email me, leland@indybcc.com. You can text me at 317-937-4382. All those things, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you
for being on my show, and this has been a delight. I've enjoyed the conversation, and a lot of things came out, and it's just that's why I don't script because none of this would have came out.
You're right, yeah. Thank you. This has been great, though.
Yeah. Have you been interviewed before?
In here?
No, have you been interviewed before? Sorry.
I don't think so.
Oh, nice. I always get lots of newbies.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been Melissa Shaw with Our Generation, where we educate, empower, and inspire, and we are out.
Yeah.
1 hour and 17 minutes.